us of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, it is only the Divine's grace that can give peace, happiness, power, light, knowledge, beatitude, and love in their essence and their truth. With my love and blessing, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 2, Words of Long Ago, Part 2, Meetings, date 7th May 1912, page 49. Question, sweet mother, what is the most useful work to be done at the present moment? For this, our Divine Mother says, the general aim to be attained is the advent of a progressing universal harmony. The means for attaining this aim in regard to the earth is the realization of human unity through the awakening in all and the manifestation by all of the inner divinity which is one. In other words, to create unity by finding the kingdom of God which is within all of us. This, therefore, is the most useful work to be done. First, for each individually to be conscious in himself of the divine presence and to identify himself with it. Second, to individualize the states of being that were never till now conscious in man, and by that to put the earth in connection with one or more of the fountains of the universal force that are still sealed to it. Third, to speak again to the world the eternal word with a new form adapted to its present mentality. It will be the synthesis of all human knowledge. Fourth, collectively, to establish an ideal society in a propitious spot for the flowering of the new rays, the rays of the sons of God, says our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says the terrestrial transformation and harmonization can be brought about by two processes which, though opposite in appearance, must combine, must act upon each other and complete each other. First, individual transformation and inner development leading to the union with the Divine Presence. Second, social transformation, the establishment of an environment favorable to the flowering and growth of the individual. Our Divine Mother says, since the environment reacts upon the individual, and on the other hand, the value of the environment depends upon the value of the individual, the two works should proceed side by side, but this can be done only through the division of labor, and that necessitates the formation of a group, hierarchized if possible. The action of the members of the group should be threefold. First, to realize in oneself the ideal to be attained, to become a perfect earthly representative of the first manifestation of the unthinkable in all its modes, attributes, and qualities. Second, to preach this ideal by word, but above all by example, so as to find out all those who are ready to realize it in their turn and become also announcers of liberation. Third, to find a typic society or reorganize those who are already existing. Our Divine Mother says, for each individual also there is a twofold labor to be done, simultaneously each side of it helping and completing the other. First, an inner development, a progressive union with the divine light, soul condition in which man can be always in harmony with the great stream of universal life. Second, an external action which everyone has to choose according to his capacities and personal preferences. He must find his own place, the place in which he alone can occupy in the general concert, and he must give himself entirely to it, not forgetting that he is playing only one note in the terrestrial symphony, and yet his note is indispensable to the harmony of the whole, and its value depends upon its justness. Next date, 14th May 1912. Question, Sweet Mother, what is my place in the universal work? For this, our Divine Mother says, we all have a role to fulfill. We all have a role to fulfill, a work to accomplish, a place which we alone can occupy. But since this work is the expression, the outer manifestation of the inmost depth of our being, we can become conscious of its definitive form only when we become conscious of this depth within ourselves. This is what sometimes happens in case of the true conversion. The moment we perceive the transfiguring light and give ourselves to it without reserve, we can suddenly and precisely become aware of what we are made of the purpose of our existence on earth. But this enlightenment is exceptional. It is brought about within us by a whole series of efforts and inner attitudes. And one of the essential conditions, if we want to achieve and maintain within ourselves these attitudes, these soul states, is to devote part of our time each day to some impersonal action. Every day we must do something useful for others. Our Divine Mother says, until we know the essential thing we are intended to do, until we know the essential thing we are intended to do, we must therefore find a temporary occupation which will be the best positive manifestation of our present capabilities and goodwill. Then we shall give ourselves to this occupation with conscientiousness and perseverance. Know that it may be well only a stage, and that with the progress of our ideal and our energies, we shall certainly one day be led to see more clearly the work we must accomplish. To the extent that we lose the habit of referring everything to ourselves and learn more and more to give ourselves more completely with greater love to earth and men, we shall see our horizons widen and our duties become more numerous and clear. Our Divine Mother says we shall find that our action follows a general line of progression determined by our own particular temperament. Indeed, the successive occupations we shall hold before we become conscious of the definitive form of our action will always point in the same direction, be of the same type and mode, which is the spontaneous expression of our character, our nature, our own characteristic vibration. Our Divine Mother says the discovery of this tendency, this particular orientation, should come about quite naturally. It is a matter of taste and free choice beyond all outer selfish considerations. People are often blamed for choosing an action for themselves which does not correspond to their abilities. There is a slight confusion here. Those who are freely set out to accomplish their own favorite work, in my opinion, be on the wrong track. This work must surely be the expression of their own particular tendency, but their mistake lies in wanting to accomplish this work all at once in its entirety, in its integrality, in depth, and above all on the surface, forgetting that the very conception of the work is imperfect as they are imperfect, and that to be wise, they should add to the knowledge of what they wish to do the more immediate and practical knowledge of what they are capable of doing at the present moment. Our Divine Mother says by taking both these factors into account, they can employ themselves with a minimal waste of time and energy. But few people act with so much insight and wisdom, and it very often happens that one who is seeking his way falls into one of these two possible errors. Either he takes his desires for realities, that is, he overestimates his present strength and capacity and imagines that he is capable of immediately assuming a place and the role which he can honorably fulfill only after many years of methodical and persevering effort. Or he underestimates his latent powers and deliberately confines himself, in spite of his deeper aspiration, to a task which is far beneath his abilities and which gradually extinguishes within him the light that could have shone for others. Our Divine Mother says it seems difficult at first to steer clear of all these pitfalls and find the balanced way, the middle way. But we have a sure pointer to guide us. Above all, whatever we undertake should not be done for the purpose of self assertion. If we are attached to fame and glory, to the esteem of our peers, we are soon led to make concessions to them. And if we seek any opportunity to admire ourselves, it becomes easy to make ourselves out to be what we are not, and nothing more obscures the ideal within us. We should never tell ourselves openly or directly, I want to be great. What occasion can I find for myself in order to become great? On the contrary, we should tell ourselves, says our Divine Mother, we should tell ourselves, there must certainly be something I can do better than anyone else, since each one of us is a special mode of manifestation of the divine power, which in its essence is one in all. However humble and modest it may be, this is precisely the thing to which I should devote myself, and in order to find it, I shall observe and analyze my tastes, tendencies, and preferences, and I shall do it without pride or excessive humility. Whatever others may think, I shall do it just as I breathe, just as the flower smells sweet, quite simply, quite naturally, because I cannot do otherwise. As soon as we have abolished within us, even for a moment, all the egoistic desires, all personal and selfish aims, and we can surrender to this inner spontaneity, this deep inspiration, which will enable us to commune with the living and progressive forces of the universe. The conception of our work will inevitably grow more perfect as we grow more perfect ourselves, and to realize this growing perfection, no effort to exceed ourselves should be neglected, but the work we perform must become always more and more joyful and spontaneous, like water welling from a pure spring, says our Divine Mother.